Welcome to the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Education Committee Network's PAC 14 TV show, Education is Everybody's Business. My name is Ladd Colston. I am a member of the Chamber of Commerce and CEO of Sustainable Visions, LLC. I am your host for today's hot educational topic, which is reading and math, two critical life skills. Sponsored by the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, Chamber CEO Bill Chambers, and our Education Committee Network members want this TV show to be a source of community awareness and knowledge of topics that impact education and workforce development here on the Lower Eastern Shore. We appreciate your listening in and providing us with your feedback on its usefulness. Please subscribe if you are viewing this show or listening on a podcast, okay? And if you will, give us a thumbs up if you like it. Now, as you may be aware, student learning suffered during the COVID-19 pandemic. As a direct result, reading and math scores have declined in America. It is now a national problem, a state problem, and a Lower Eastern Shore problem. Here are a few statistics that are just mind-boggling. According to the National Report Card, the National Assessment of Education Progress, NAEP, reported that average scores for age 9 students in 2022 declined 5 points in reading and 7 points in math compared to 2020. That's just 2 years. This is the largest average score decline in reading since 1990 and the first ever decline in mathematics. Statewide, the Maryland State Department of Education reported that most of both 4th and 8th grade students were tested as not proficient in math or reading. In fact, over 65% of 4th and 8th grade students performed at or below the basic level in both reading and math. Currently, scores have not been reported at this time of the broadcast, but they are this is for the county, but they are projected to reflect state findings. In this broadcast, we will feature 3 literacy resources that are currently available to both families and children, that's including both adults and children, who want to acquire these two critical life skills, reading and math. Our first guest, let me introduce to you Mr. Seth Hershberger. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And for those of you that do not know, Mr. Hershberger is the Executive Director of the Wicomico County Public Libraries as a major community resource for readers and those who desire to learn to read. It is a pleasure.
Thank you, Ladd.
Thank you in the studio.
Thank you for having me on. It's good to be here.
It's wonderful. So for our listening audience, a few questions. First one is, what are some of the reading skill programs that you offer through the Wicomico County Library System, and how can persons get involved or enrolled?
Great. Thank you very much for the question. We are all about reading at the library. We're about much more than reading, but it's still part of our core mission to champion reading for the community as a unique way to advance people's skills and abilities in all kinds of other areas. Being able to read is crucial. And we have been involved for a long time at the very basic level of trying to make sure that everybody has literacy skills. And I know you know about our Project Read program, and We can talk about that some more, but and thank you for your support for that program over the
Always.
years. We've been glad to have you be a part of that. But that's one of the key projects we have where we're trying to ensure that our community, those members that don't have those basic literacy skills, have an opportunity to develop those. And we have, I just looked at our calendar for the rest of February, and just for the few weeks ahead, we've got all kinds of programs that are going on at the library in the various locations of the library that are about reading, whether it's book clubs, both in person and virtual. A special program we've been doing for a while that brings in children or anybody that wants to read to a support animal. It's called Pause to Read. And so we're partnering with an agency that has these support animals that brings them to the library. And the children will just sit there and read to the dog. A very good listener and very non-judgmental, and so a good opportunity to practice your reading skills if you're not so certain of yourself.
That is so innovative.
And then we've got all kinds of other programs that really have to do with reading beyond the book clubs. It's all focused on trying to get people into the library and encourage them to be a part of the resources that we have, including our books, both the physical books that you can check out from the library, and also what is really our second busiest branch, our website, where you can go on there and download ebooks, digital audiobooks directly to your device, and listen on your phone or read on whatever device you like. And we check out thousands of books that way, people that don't actually come in and visit the library, but they have a library card, so they have access to those resources.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do
Yes.
you need to have a library card in order to access these ebooks via the website?
You do, yes, but you can sign up for a library card online too. So you can have your account set up so you can start accessing those materials without having to come in and visit us in person. We'd love to see you. And we think the library is a great place to visit because it's a real community center that brings people together. There's meetings that are happening there all the time and these special programs. And we've recently added a lot of new furniture to our downtown location, the Sarbanes branch, that make it a more comfortable space, lounge furniture, study carrels all over the library, lots of tables. So it is a nice place to come in and hang out too. It's just a place away from home. That's the way we want people to feel about it.
Excellent. And with the development that's occurring in downtown, now you can actually make the library a point that you must go see and visit.
That's right. We're glad to be downtown and be a part of all the development that's taking place there, and we want to be a bigger part of that.
Excellent, excellent. Wow. Now you also provide outreach to neighborhoods and communities beyond downtown Salisbury. You have a bookmobile, and you also have a brand new mobile learning lab that I had the opportunity to visit and tour. Fabulous. Tell us what services you provide and how residents can know when you're scheduled to be in their community or how they can get that mobile learning lab or bookmobile in their community.
Right, and that's part of our mobile services branch. This is another sort of branch department of the library that is all about going to the people rather than expecting the patrons to come and visit us. We're trying to take those physical library resources right out there and put it in the community, including the special things like computer labs, so that we have the ability to deliver that to the various communities around Wicomico County. This has been a focus for me, is trying to do better serving all parts of the county, not just Salisbury, because we really have the one large flagship branch downtown, and then we've got a branch in the mall that we call the Center branch, because that's the Center Mall. And then we have a branch in Pittsville, and then we have our mobile services branch, and we have 3 vehicles. The mobile learning lab that, as you mentioned, is basically like a tech center on wheels with all the fancy STEM technology that we can go and do programs in various places. And then we have a bookmobile, which is really just a library on wheels. And in fact, we're about to replace that vehicle with a new bookmobile, because the one we have has been running around for quite a few years. So we're going to replace that with a brand new bookmobile vehicle. And then we also have a reader van that delivers, it's just a regular size van, cargo van, that delivers bins of material to places where they can distribute the collection there, whether it's a nursing home, community assisted living facilities, daycares. They also service our book lockers, which we have located around the county, and we're expanding that. where people can place holds, go to the locker, and pick it up right there, their physical materials, whether it's in a high traffic area like the YMCA here in town, or the City Hall in Sharptown is another location where we have it, where those folks can go and pick up physical material right in their town.
That is fantastic.
Right.
So you actually do that outreach to daycare centers and also adult learning centers, the MAC Center. Wow.
And the way to find out about where those services are being delivered, or to make a request to bring them to your community or to your event, is simply to go to our website, our brand new website, which just rolled out on February 14th as a happy Valentine's present to all of our beloved patrons. This website has a page for mobile services. You can go there and see all the services, their schedule of upcoming events, and also you can contact the manager and make requests to have the vehicles at your events or your programs. We're really proud of our new website, just to touch on that. It does have a really slick new calendar of events. You have the ability to go on there and reserve meeting rooms. Those are free to private groups or nonprofits can go on there and use those for free, and we've got some really nice rooms that you can have a fairly large meeting in, and schedule that right there on the website, and make sure you've got your reservation there as well.
That's outstanding. I plan on doing that. Now, lastly, you've done so many wonderful things since your arrival here in Salisbury with the Wicomico Public Libraries. My question is, do you have any future plans and projections for our library system here?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'll start with our branch in Pittsville, serving the eastern part of Wicomico, because it's in a trailer, and it's been in a trailer for almost 20 years. There's inadequate parking there, no space for programs. It's really been what was a temporary solution that turned into something that's been a little too permanent. So we're really excited that with the cooperation and support of our county government, that they have supplied the funds to purchase a standalone facility that has 3 times the square footage of the location there, so that we can relocate the Pittsville branch. And that is moving forward, and we will have that facility by March, so we can start making the renovations to it to get it ready to be the new home for the branch serving eastern Wicomico County. It's in Parsonsburg, so about 3 miles away from Pittsville, but we're really pleased with the location, and we think the whole area is going to be really happy with the final result when they get a chance to visit the branch there. So that's one thing that we knew we needed to do in order to address a serious problem with having a branch in a trailer that was starting to fall apart. We know we need a new branch serving Salisbury, and that's we're going to pivot to that and start putting together all the sources of funding that we can find, including a capital campaign to raise funds to do major renovations or an entire new build, so that Salisbury can have a branch that they're really proud of. In the same way that the citizens of places like Crisfield and Dorchester have a beautiful, attractive branch that the community can take pride in. Ours is no longer something that is really a beautiful facility. It dates back to the early 80s when they developed that, and it's starting to show its age. And it just doesn't serve well the citizens of Salisbury and Wicomico. The entire county needs a flagship branch that they're really proud of, and that's a destination to visit from all parts of the city and the county. And I'm really excited that we're going to start working on that, and I'm optimistic that we have a lot of partners both with the county and the city and the state that can provide the funding for that.
Well, I am optimistic just like you, and I love the vision. I think it's much needed. And for our viewership, hopefully you're listening, and hopefully you will support this sustainable vision that we hope will occur here in Wicomico County soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, lad. It's
Appreciate
good to be
you.
here.
It is a pleasure to welcome our second guest, Ms. Jayme Hayes. Ms. Hayes is the President and CEO, that's Chief Experiential Officer.
That's correct.
for Junior Achievement of the Eastern Shore. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You got a lot going on.
A lot going
with
on.
the Junior Achievement. And we're going to share some of that information for our listening audience who are not aware of Junior Achievement. What is the mission of the organization and who do you serve?
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate any time we get to spotlight the good work that our board and staff and volunteers do in the community. So thank you. And if you aren't familiar with Junior Achievement, we are a nonprofit organization with a board and staff and volunteers. And we are in the age 5 to 25 range. So K through 12 plus our 18 to 25. And our mission is to provide opportunities to students to be able to live the life that they want around financial education, career readiness, and entrepreneurship.
Wow, that is fantastic. I did not know about the 18 to 25 year age
It's brand new, so we're
Ooh.
very excited to start expanding. We'd like to support our high school students after they graduate, so we're not just teaching them workforce readiness, but ensuring that what we've taught them is happening.
That is so critical. I cannot tell you how many college students I have taught through the years that are missing that piece. Wow. So tell us a little bit about your Junior Achievement financial literacy programs. Like what skills are taught and when are they and when and where are they held and how can students get enrolled?
So I love this question because we have parents call us multiple times a day to ask how they can enroll their kids. And one, I want to point out that I am so happy that there are parents out there that recognize the importance of financial education. However, there is no enrollment process. If you are in school, if you are homeschooled, public school, private school, if you are in the K through 12 space and now that 18 to 25 space, there is no enrollment. You get Junior Achievement. We are a true partner with our public school system. So, for instance, we cover Caroline, Talbot, Dorchester, Wicomico, Worcester, Somerset, and Accomack County. And each one of those school systems is a partner with Junior Achievement. So when they say our schools aren't teaching financial literacy, they absolutely are, because they use our curriculum. And that's probably why many people aren't familiar with the word Junior Achievement, because it's happening in the classroom and woven into their curriculum. And what Junior Achievement does is we're the liaison between the business community, the real world, and then the school system. And so the schools partner with us. We're out in the community listening and learning what our students need to know from bankers, from accountants, from financial planners, from the employers. We package that up in a curriculum and it gets delivered in the school systems. So the only enrollment you can ever have with Junior Achievement is if we had an after school or a summer program, and right now we just provide our curriculum to those. We're not in the after school and summer program business, so we just give our material for free to those organizations.
Outstanding. And hopefully they know where to get it.
They do.
And use it.
Yes.
Now, I also understand that you have a brand new facility that is currently being built, and there will be hands-on career learning opportunities ranging from a Junior Achievement Biz Town to a Junior Achievement Financial Park.
Yeah.
Ooh, tell us more.
So one of the great things that we provide to our school system is highly immersive and highly experiential programming, right? So everything that happens in the classroom that's delivered by our amazing teachers and volunteers is so important, because you have to understand and know before you can really deep dive and have the experience. So all of our programs are very, very experiential. And our Purdue Henson Junior Achievement Center will be the biggest of all. Every fifth grader on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so that's 3,500 fifth graders, will participate in JA BizTown. That is where students will have curriculum in the classroom and then arrive for their 4.5-hour simulation in a actual city. So we are in the old Kmart, 27,000 square foot. If you haven't come, you got to come. It's set up. It looks just like a real city. There's a Pohanka. There's a Tidal Health. We have everything. And so when the students arrive, I will have little 10-year-olds, as cute as they are, working at Pohanka, selling cars. doing oil changes and rotating tires. We'll have people at Tidal Health working on healthcare and your pharmacy needs and all of that. And so as they go through this entire experience, they leave there sort of understanding the world of economy and how a community works and how a city works. For my 7th graders, which is Finance Park, this is 3,500 7th graders from all over the shore. So no parents call me, can't enroll, they're coming.
Right.
If they're in 7th grade, they're coming next year, is where they come and they get a life situation. You're 45 years old, you have 2 kids, and you make $38,000 a year. We'll see you in 4.5 hours. And the doors will open and they will be in the simulated city where they have to buy a car from Pohanka. They have to pay their medical bills to Tidal Health. They have to get a loan from our banks. They can go watch a football game. They have to budget for their entertainment at Salisbury University. So they'll go around to each of these storefronts and budget for everything that they need. And so at the end of the day, they'll start to realize the implications of 7 children versus no children, or having a job where you make $25,000 versus $65,000. And what's important here is when you think about a pathway, we've now talked about the economy in 5th grade. My 7th graders are now starting to understand a salary, right? If you said to anyone of the age of 13, 14, 15, they're going to make $20,000 a year, they think they've made it. They're millionaires. But when they put pen to paper, all of a sudden that salary makes sense to them. So that, I already got a job at, McDonald's or whatever. And shout out, that was my first job. So no problem there.
Okay.
But when they start to put pen to paper, it all starts to make sense. It starts to click and they start to realize, oh, it's not that easy to just get a job and make that much money. So then they go to our JA Inspire where they get to see the opportunities and now salaries make sense.
Wow, that is so awesome.
I think so.
I do. I mean, we're talking applied hands-on learning. Okay, you can't get that out of a textbook.
No.
And I think kids nowadays, they really need to see what is the worth and value of learning. And you hit it spot on. You're actually saying, okay, to live life, this is what you need to know. So now learning math in a classroom will make sense.
Absolutely. And think about it. What an amazing thing at that age to feel seen and respected as a future adult.
Yes.
We're literally saying to them, you're going to be an adult, you're going to make your own decisions. We're going to be here to listen, but you might fall, but you're going to do it within these safe walls first. And I think what's really important about that is at the end of the day, it feels like a game to them. At the end of the day, it's fun. But there's that underlying seed that we've planted where now, just as you said in math, now I know why I have to understand percentages, because I know at my bank I had to get a loan and my percentage was 8% or 4%, and I know now what the implications of that are. So I agree. I think it just helps close the circle.
Oh, without question. This is fabulous. In fact, I'm not sure when the facility will actually open to the public, but I do know that in the meantime, you've got a big event coming up at the Wicomico County Civic Center called JA Inspire.
Oh, my goodness. So my board chair, Mike Dunn, would tell you that is the Super Bowl of career fairs. And I love that because we start planning the event the day after it ends. So we've been planning this for 12 months. It's a highly immersive career fair. I hate to use the word fair because they're not just walking around and seeing things. They are truly, truly rolling up their sleeves and acting things out. So this is a curriculum in the classroom. So prior to coming, they're learning, do they like to work with people? Do they not like to work with people? Do they want to solve problems? Do they like helping people? Do they want to work inside? Do they want to work outside? So we're slowly narrowing from their likes and dislikes what industries and careers might be available to them. Then when they show up at the Civic Center, This is over 3 days, 4,500 students from across the shore. So parents, you cannot enroll your kids. If they're in 8th grade, they're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming. I promise you. We pay for the buses if they're coming. But the students arrive, and if you've ever been, and if you haven't, you are welcome to come. You do have to bring your ID because we use the Raptor system since we're working with the schools. But we have a rocket from NASA. We have masonry. We had a sonogram machine from Tidal Health that was so amazing. We have simulated flight, CDL. I got on the CDL truck. I hit a deer. This is why I don't drive CDLs, so I don't have my truck license. But it's so immersive and so hands-on. We want the kids to touch and feel and start to think, I don't know that I want to do this. And from there, it's in 8th grade so that they can choose their pathway for high school. So we have CTE there, showcasing all the great programs they offer. We have UMES, SU, Chesapeake College, Warwick, Eastern Shore Virginia College, saying, here's a little passport on how you get to where that job is. And here's what we can do. Dual enrollment, college. Maybe it's not college. Maybe it's a certification or apprenticeship. But whatever it is, you have to do something. And now they've had 7th grade Finance Park, so they know they need to do something if they want to feed their children.
How about that?
Exactly.
And themselves.
And themselves, exactly. And so it's very immersive. It is over 3 days. On Tuesday, March 14th, we are doing a ribbon cutting in the evening and inviting the public to bring their high school students and educators and business community members and leaders to come and see all the careers on the shore. Yeah, we have so many teachers that even say to us as they're walking around, we had no idea of some of these businesses. We have some hidden gems here on the Eastern Shore that need to be showcased, and I think that happens on that day.
And this is free.
This is free.
You don't have
Well,
to
no,
pay.
let me rephrase. We spend a lot of money.
Right. But I'm talking about in terms of families who want to
Absolutely.
come,
Oh,
community
yes.
members, high school students who want to come and see. It's free of charge. Just come to the Civic Center.
Absolutely.
And what time is that?
Oh boy!
Five-
So March 14th, I believe, is 5 to 7:30,
Okay.
and then Wednesday and Thursday that will be open to the public, but you'll have to run through the Raptor because we'll have 4,500 students that kind of come through. But it's always our mission is to be free to the schools. It's a very expensive event, but every exhibitor has rolled up their sleeve, and instead of complaining about not finding, their future workforce pipeline, they're rolling up their sleeves and bringing in the coolest equipment and everything. So it's my favorite day of the year.
Oh.
I love it.
As one who has attended those events, I can let everyone know JA Inspire is the place to go. You must see it to believe it. It is phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
you
having me.
always. Join me in welcoming our third guest, Dr. Brian Flores. Now, Dr. Flores is currently the director of the May Literacy Center in the Seidel School of Education here at Salisbury University. For those of us who are unaware of the May Literacy Center, me included,
Okay.
who was it designed for initially, and what programs and services do you provide?
Sure. The Mays created the May Literacy Center endowment back in 1990. We're looking at 30 plus years now. And it was designed for faculty and staff and graduate students to work with children who had reading exceptionalities. Mr. May was dyslexic, and so he really wanted to focus on children that struggled with their reading and then had those exceptionalities. And over time, it migrated to then working more with the struggling reader while also focusing on children who may have those exceptionalities as well. And currently, we work with kindergarten through 8th grade and all struggling readers coming from socioeconomically disadvantaged circumstances. So our target population really is the children and the families out there who are struggling to be able to read and write.
Now, is that pertaining to university faculty, or is that the community at large?
It is the community at large. We service mostly Wicomico County public schools, and that's our target population for the most part. We have pulled in the past from our local districts, Dorchester, Somerset, Worcester County, some of the private schools may push their children our direction, but we try to focus on public education and the public school children as the primary children that we work with. But we do, if we have struggling readers who are in desperate need and they come from those private schools and there is that socioeconomic need with that family as well, we'll take those children.
Excellent. Now tell me, what reading success have you observed or witnessed from students who have enrolled and completed your center courses and programs?
That's a great question. So typical interventions are focused on daily interventions with children, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're week by week. We meet children once a week for 8 straight weeks. We work with them for an hour and 15 minutes. And so sometimes that's very difficult to be able to then see exponential change in their reading or their writing or their capacity to understand words because we got a whole week in between when we saw them the last time. Right. So the primary thing that we focus on, now we do address each week, we focus on their word work, their reading, and their writing. Every child gets that focus. But what we notice the biggest impact that we have on is children's literate identity. And what I mean by that is how they feel about themselves as a reader and writer. Most of the children come in with a really tarnished sense of self when it comes to how they feel about themselves as a reader and or a writer. Typically it's both. Mm-hmm. And so what we try to do first is we do a battery of assessments to know what we need to teach. Mm-hmm. And then we really put that emphasis on how do we meet them where they are to get them to feel successful so at least they can understand, hey, I am not so bad at this thing. Mm-hmm. And so the number one thing that we impact at the center is their sense of self as a reader and writer. And by a kind of a sub goal from that is that often they become better readers and writers.
Now, I understand you have a waiting list.
We do. We do. That hurts my heart.
So basically, how many students are you able to bring in at a time? And for parents who are interested in enrolling their children, is there any cost for this? And what are the eligibility requirements?
Sure. So there is no cost. When I took the directorship in 2018, when I came to Salisbury University, it was a fee-based program. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed is that we were missing certain populations of families and children. Mm-hmm. And so with the dean's support at Dr. Henry at College of Education, she's amazing. With her support, we waived the fees, and it opened up the door to many more families and to be able to attend our program. So the wait list side of thing is always a stress for me. Mm-hmm. And our enrollment is based on teacher candidates. So the tutors or the teachers are all seniors getting their bachelor's degree in early elementary education, so early childhood or elementary education. Oh. And so they're in their senior year. The next semester they go into their final internship. Okay. So we are based on enrollment. Mm. So for instance, in this last fall, I could service about 80 children, where this spring it's 27.
Wow.
Just because of when students come in, when they apply, when they enter the program, most students come in the fall, and very few enter the college experience in January, but we still have those. So really our enrollment is based our enrollment for children is based on the teacher candidate enrollment. So you can imagine come springtime, there's now teachers are talking to families and we're getting a lot of interest, and that wait list is very, very long. And it's always a stress for me this time of year because you have to turn so many families away when the need at this point, because we're thinking about the end of the year and how do we get children to grade level expectation. Right. And or as close as we can to that, and we're a great conduit to help with that. Mm-hmm. And I have to turn so many families away.
So how can families contact you? Is there a phone number, or is there an email, or what would be the recommendation from your standpoint?
So the website to get to for the May Literacy Center isn't easy because of it having to go through university,
Exactly.
that side of things. So if you go to the Seidel School of Education website, you can find the May Literacy Center website there. Then there's email, phone numbers, and there's also an enrollment form parents can fill out. It's in Spanish and English, so they can put their information in, and then we contact them immediately. Our social media site with Seidel School May Literacy Center, that's a great way too, because that has all the information and leads them right to the website directly. And on that website, on our Facebook page, we introduce our teachers. We do segments of that. We do teaching tips. We do tours of the May Literacy Center. So we try to be very quick with little segments, 1 to 2, 3-minute segments of things that parents and teachers can use. But those are the best ways to get a hold of me, for sure.
So they can go to the Salisbury University website.
Yep.
Look for Seidel School of Education.
Yes.
And then go to the May Center.
And then they'll find us.
And then they'll find you. Okay.
Sometimes it's easier if they just simply Google the May Literacy Center at Salisbury University, and then they takes them right directly there. Full transparency, that's how I get to it mostly.
Excellent. Excellent. We want to make it real easy for our viewership.
That's the easiest way.
Now, last but not least, do you have any future plans for expanding your literacy programs and services due to the critical need?
Yeah,
that
that's
you just
always a
shared with us?
conversation. We have May Literacy Center meet every other week with myself, Dr. Henry, the graduate assistant who works at the May Center, and a few other folks that we get together. And each week we talk about what are the programming and how things going. And so we cover the gist and the bases, right? But then we're always talking about expansion. How do we grow? How do we expand? How do we put better books in front of children, more diverse texts in front of children? But how do we take our programs and then push them out and to make them more available for more children? And so that's always on our mind. And then it's always something that we're working on to try to do differently, whether that's then us shifting and then partnering with the schools that we have great partners with now, and doing maybe some site-based programs, and then can capture more children there. But that's always on the forefront of our mind, is how do we expand, how do we increase our footprint, how do we increase our impact with families and children, and so yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. We recently have partnered with the School of Social Work, and this semester we don't have a social work intern, but typically we do, and that social work intern has always been great with helping with family programming and doing some neat things with families. This semester it didn't work out for us, just last minute changes in there, but typically that's a great way for us to expand and really work with families in a different way.
Well, with the new president coming in and all of her ideals for moving forward, hopefully those kinds of partnerships will become a concrete part of Salisbury University with the community. Thank you so much. Well, this brings us to a close for our 4th show. Please listen out for our next broadcast, where we will feature the hot educational topic, listening to our youth. What do they want to learn? And we hope to have children and youth of the community expressing just that. So until then, remember, education is everybody's business.